Do I hate God? A question that I received some few days ago from a friend who asked me what is my problem with God? Why do I hate God so much? But I don't hate God, to be honest. I don't I don't hate God. Because I have a different definition of God for me. And my definition of God will not be the same as yours because we all know our realities cannot be the same. What I have a problem with is this concept of a God up above in heaven who watches over us, who is our Father. The God of the Bible is the one that I have a problem with. And I don't actually hate them. I would just want to hold them accountable for the actions that they do. And I would like to understand their understanding, the workings of their mind. We have to admit that the God that we read about in the Old Testament is a horrible God, is a very bad God. And Christians will flock to my comment section telling me that, oh, Jesus came and Jesus did this and Jesus was blah, 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 blah. My friend, you cannot just completely ignore the Old Testament and just decide that now because Jesus came and he died for your sins, now that the God has changed, God has become a better person, God has changed his morals, and he's no longer that evil, sadistic person that we read about in the Old Testament. We also tell ourselves that God is the same. God never changes. God is the same yesterday, today, and tomorrow. So if God is the same yesterday, today, and tomorrow, what changed for the God in the Old Testament and the New Testament? Did the God of the Old Testament die and the New Testament take over God, like a new God took over? I would like to understand this because most Christians act as if because Jesus came and died for your sins and because Jesus taught love and Jesus taught forgiveness, they forget that the God of the Old Testament, that God did not show any love. That God did not show any mercy or any forgiveness. If you were against him, he would get rid of you. He would get rid of you. He would send armies to decapitate you if you did not follow him, if you did not worship him. Like he was a brutal God. And most Christians ignore these facts. And so I ask, what changed? What made God change in the Old Testament and in the New Testament? Because there's inconsistencies about that God. Again, why would I hate somebody I have never seen, somebody I have never heard, somebody I have never touched? There is no evidence of this person existing. Most of us will not accept this, but the reason why we attribute our lives to this character called God is because we do not understand our own existence. And personally, I would rather admit that I do not understand anything about my existence rather than attributing it to something that I have never seen, something I have never heard or known. Sometimes things happen in our lives that we cannot explain, and we automatically want to attribute them to God. But there is no evidence of this person working in our lives. We don't know what made our lives go in that direction. We don't know what made, that certain thing happen in your life that you attribute to God. We actually don't know. And it is because of this unknowing that we then attribute it to something must be out there greater than us that we cannot understand, that we cannot comprehend. Because let me tell you something. If we understood our existence, the workings of our universe, which most scientists are working daily towards that, if we understood the workings of why it was this person who went into that sky and got an accident and yet you did not get into that sky, it does not mean that God loved those people less than he loves you. That is just delusional thinking, to be honest. That because you woke up today morning, God must love you more than he loves the person who died last night. That is delusional thinking. So it is because of this lack of understanding of why these things happen that we then attribute them to something greater than us. But if we knew why things happen the way that they do, we would not then have these gods that we worship today. So do I hate God? No, I don't hate God. I I have no reason to hate something that I have never seen, heard, or touched, or even there is no evidence of them existing. My problem is with the Christian gods, because this God does not take accountability. This God just shifts blame. This God just wants to be impure. Like, I have never done anything wrong. I am so clean. It is you who makes me do this because of your sinful ways, because of your disobedience, because of like shifts the blame to his creation, never takes accountability for his actions. And personally, as a person who likes taking accountability for my actions, I would also want a creator who does the same. I do not like a creator who tells me that because you have certain private parts, you are less of a human being than this other person who has these other certain private parts. What type of God is that now? It doesn't make sense. So for me, I wouldn't hate anybody who I have never seen. If the God of the Bible appeared today to me, I would ask him the same questions that I posit here on my YouTube channel. And I would even tell this God, appear in human form so that I record you, so that people see that you exist, so that people stop talking about something that they don't know, something that is preached in pulpits but have never seen. I would actually film that interview for all of you to see. And I myself would say, now this God has come and he's taking accountability. Let us ask him these questions. Send me your questions if you have any, so that we can ask this God. Do you get me? Do you get me? For the way we define God, now for the way I define God, it is different from the way you define God. Our realities cannot be the same. I don't think for me God is somewhere heavenly waiting in the heavens, just nonchalant, doesn't care about what happens to us, just there, waiting for you to sin so that you can go and burn in hell, waiting for you not to worship him, waiting for you not to follow his orders so that you can go and burn in hell. For me, I don't think that is God. And if that is God for me, I would tell that God, me, I don't want to be associated with you. I am going to go and look for a true supreme creator. Now,